I've been having a ton of fun going into Whatnot auctions over the last couple of days during the Whatnot Card Show 3. And, you know, I've seen a lot of you in there, said hello. That was fun. And it wraps up today. Now, also, what I've got going on is tomorrow, I'm doing my first ever live stream. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to do it. I think I know how to do it, but I'm not sure if I know what I'm doing. So be patient with me. But at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, tomorrow, Monday, November 20th, I am going live for the first time of my channel. It's been over a year. I've had my channel for over a year. I've never hosted a live stream. Now, I've been on live streams, but I've never hosted one. So what I need, and I don't ask for help a lot, but I need your support. I need you all to show up for me. I need you all to show up because I don't know how this is going to go, and I don't know if anybody's going to show up. So I need you there. Please come support me. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Then what I'm going to do at halftime of the Monday Night Football game, during halftime, we're going to do the drawing for the mantle. I've been talking about this mantle here for about a week and a half. I'm giving away this 1960 Mickey Mantle All-Star in a PSA 4, and it's undergraded. It's a beautiful card. To me, it looks more like a 5 or a 6, if I'm being totally honest with you. More on PSA in a minute. But I'm giving that away. Now, some of you have reached out to me and said, Greg, I left a comment because in order to enter, remember, what you have to do is have a Whatnot account, follow me on Whatnot, and then leave a comment below in any of the videos where I mention this. But some of you have said, I keep leaving a comment and it keeps erasing the comment. I don't know what's going on. So here's what I'm going to do, because I don't want anybody who went through this process to not be entered into the drawing. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. Here's what you need to do to win the mantle. You need to have a Whatnot account and follow me on Whatnot. That's it. Okay? Don't worry about the comment below because I don't want anybody not to be included who is trying to be included, but for whatever reason, for whatever reason, YouTube is getting rid of your comment. So follow me on Whatnot and have a Whatnot account. You still have time to enter, okay? Even if you've never tried Whatnot and you don't have a Whatnot account, remember, if you join Whatnot using my link, you will get a $15 credit. And you can at least check it out, load it on your phone, set up your account, and if you decide, this isn't for me, that's okay. I would use the $15 free dollars. $15 free dollars on some of the stuff I've been seeing run this weekend. Get you some pretty cool stuff. But use the link, join Whatnot, follow me on Whatnot, and when you use my link, it's going to ask you, it's going to prompt you, do you want to follow Midlife Cards? And you just say, yeah. And then you finish setting up the account, and then boom, here we are. And we will be ready to enter in the drawing tomorrow live at halftime of the Monday Night Football game. But the stream starts at 6:30. So I'm going to be in there at 6:30. We'll be hanging out. Feel free, please bring questions, please bring comments, and then we'll do the drawing, and then we'll hang out a little bit longer for maybe an hour or so. So we'll see how it goes, but I need you there, please. I don't ask a lot of you. Please come tomorrow night. So that brings us to where we are now. On a recent video, I had a question about PSA, and I was talking about PSA and SGC and some of the things. And the legend, John Mangini, who, we know John, a lot of us know John Mangini. He has an amazing collection. He's one of the biggest vintage collectors on YouTube at least. And a very entertaining channel. Occasionally he's the guy that, every once in a while he'll pull out his nunchucks and just beat the tarnations out of whatever that torso thing is that he has. Yeah, that guy. So he made a comment because he's not high on grading. He's not high on PSA for sure. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's basically what his comments were saying is, come on, PSA, they're doing 1.2 million cards a month, and you think they're spending a good time looking over your card? No way. It's not possible. And so I responded, I'm like, that's an interesting thought. I think I'm going to actually do a full breakdown of this because I have in my mind, I have this idea of, oh, they're excited, right? They go out and get the mail and they see it's from me. And now they open it up carefully and they look at my cards and then they, take time to authenticate it. And they might have to do some research to figure out what my cards are to make sure that they're authenticated correctly. And then they look it over really closely to make sure that it's real and it's not fake and that it's not altered or trimmed. And then it goes into the graders, and the grader then really takes his time looking it over. And then another grader comes and looks over his shoulder and goes, well, let me look, right? And let me see what the card looks like. And yeah, I agree with you on that grade. And they talk about it. And then they carefully send it over to have the labels made, the flips made, and they put it into the machine to have it encapsulated and waterproofed and sealed. And then somebody goes through and checks it and makes sure that there's no damage to it and everything's perfect. And then they carefully pack it up and then they send it back to me. That's what I thought was happening, right? But to Mr. Mangini's point, 1.2 million cards. You're doing that for 1.2 million cards? So I'm like, let's just break this down. Let's look at the numbers. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the numbers. So let's look. Now, I know I'm probably living in like a dream world, but kind of what I thought would be happening when I submitted my cards is, the package would show up and, they would just scan, because we put the barcode on the outside of the package. So they just scan it in and then they probably, the next step would be probably, to cut it open and take the cards out, right? Unbox them, unwrap them, because we've probably got them packaged up tight. So I'm thinking it's about a minute each to look the cards over, take them out of the packaging, take them out of the boxes. And, if you're doing a 10-card submission, once they pull them out, account that they're all there, check it against the list. And yeah, that's a minute each. And then we got, a couple of minutes, I'm thinking they're looking the card over, authenticating it, right? So the first card is this. Is that actually what it is, right? Looking it over to make sure it's a real card, making sure that it's not, tampered with. That's probably a couple of minutes per card. And again, this is just kind of ballparking what I thought. Now I was thinking kind of the low end when they grade my card would be like, maybe like 4 minutes each. Like, because you got to look it over front and back. You got to check surface and corners and edges and surface. And I know that estimate is probably high. Well, it's certainly high, as we'll see here shortly. But that was I was kind of thinking it would be like 4 minutes a card. I mean, if I'm sending you $25 per card, I'm thinking you're going to spend more than, 10 seconds on it. So then somebody else is going to look the card over, probably with a quick checklist, and make sure that the grade is the same as what it received. And then they've got to create, the labels, right? So they got to probably have an automated system that prints those out. So you got to print them out, got to separate them, put them with the right card, get them all ready to encapsulate, right? So then they're going to have to put it in a machine that's going to encapsulate the card, and that's not going to be instant. You got to set the card in there carefully, make sure it's not going to get pinched, and you got to, then encapsulate it, and we'll have the flip in there and then encapsulate it, and then somebody's going to probably look at each card and make sure none of the cracks are in the cases or anything, and then they got to package my cards up to mail them back to me. So that's going to take some time. So I was thinking like the absolute shortest amount of time that they would possibly spend total would be about 13 minutes per card. So then I'm like, well, how much manpower do they have? So I went on to the Collectors Universe website, and they're hiring PSA card graders. And Collectors Universe, so not the PSA division, but Collectors Universe as a whole, according to their website, they have 17 employees. Now, if you read carefully, though, it says they employ 1,700 people, which is a little different than 1,700 employees. And some of the employees, it says, are in Hong Kong and Shanghai. Now, I know that there's a grading facility in Japan, but I'm thinking the Hong Kong and Shanghai employees or people that they employ are probably people who are creating, materials for the encapsulation. They're not like graders. But so all of these estimates I'm giving are super, super high. I'm trying to be very conservative here. So let's then say about 5% of the employees are management, right? Like people who aren't really working with the cards, but they're doing marketing and sales and they're, management, hiring, stuff like that. And then support staff is going to be, janitors and receptionists and just support people. So if we took 15% of the 1,700, and this is again assuming everybody works for PSA, not just Collectors Universe. That's 255 full-time employees that are support staff or managerial staff. So that means there's 1,445 staff left, right? That could potentially be actually touching the cards. So then you go, okay, well, if there's 1,445 employees and they're all full-time, which I'm sure that they're not. Again, this is a very, very overly conservative estimates, but you'll see my point here in a second. That means there's 57,800 hours in a week that are available. Now, I'm assuming part of the time that people are on the clock, they're using the bathroom, they're talking to the person next to them. They're not spending every minute. So I'm saying if you spent 50 of your 60 minutes per hour on actual work, that would give them 2,890,000 minutes per week that are available to be working on turning cards around and getting them graded. So then we go, okay, well, how about the monthly hours or the monthly minutes even from the production staff? Well, if it's 2,890,000 minutes per week, and there are 52 weeks in a year, that gives us 150,280,000 minutes a year from the employees. And again, that's assuming all of these employees are actually touching cards or working on cards, working 50 out of their 60 minutes. Very conservative numbers here. So then you go, okay, well, those people are going to have some vacation time and some sick time. So we have to remove some of the time. So I figure if 10% of the work year people are off because of, paid time off and sick time and stuff, that's 15,028,000 minutes per year of time off. So now we have available to us, or to them, 135,252,000 minutes per year where the employees are actually there and hypothetically working. Again, I'm being very conservative. So we have 135 million minutes of labor. But how many minutes per month? Because what we want to do is we want to be able to figure out an amount of time per card. So if we take the yearly amount of 135,252,000 and divide it by 12, that tells us that we have 11,271,000 minutes per month. Now you're saying, where are we going with this, Greg? Be patient with me. Be patient with me. You're about to see where we're going with this. So we have just over 11 million minutes per month of labor time. It's not really this much. These are all overestimates, but I'm being very conservative again. So how much is spent on each card? Well, if we had the 11 million total labor minutes per month, and according to GemRate, they are, turning over about 1.2 million cards per month, right? 1.2 million cards per month is what they have been averaging over the last several months. So if we took the total number of labor minutes per month, which is an overestimate, and divided by 1.2 million cards, that means they're spending right about 9 minutes and 15 seconds per card total. That's unpacking it. That's identifying it. That's grading it. That's encapsulating it. That's packing it back up. That's everything. Now, in real life, it's nowhere near 9 minutes and 15 seconds. This is the absolute maximum amount of time. Because I'm not sure that every employee is full-time. They're clearly not, right? They're clearly not all full-time employees. There are a lot of part-timers in there. So they're not working 40 hours a week. There are certainly a lot of seasonal people, right? They're down in LA. I know they hire a lot of students. So you have students that maybe are working more during the summer than during the school year. I'm not that sure that 85% of the staff is actually production process. I think it's probably less. I think that 1,700 is all of Collector's Universe, not just PSA. I read estimates that PSA only has actually like 750 employees in the PSA division. So the 9 minutes and 15 seconds is a very conservative estimate. Like, this would be the absolute max, and in reality, it's probably closer to half of that. So when I'm watching all these videos about the mistakes that people made and the issues that they're having and how long it's taking, and, well, I have a little bit more concern too. If they spend less than 10 minutes per card, then that means they're servicing at least 6 cards per hour. In reality, we know it's more than that. But this is the absolute minimum that the average employee spends time to do 6 cards an hour combined. And they're charging us $25 per card. So it's $25 per card to get my card graded. But the employees going through, again, employee time, this is divided per employee, at least 6 cards per hour. So they're spending, 10 minutes per card. They're going through 6 cards an hour, and they're getting $25 a card. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider doing so. So if they're doing $25 a card and employee time equates to 6 cards per hour, that means they're earning $150 per hour per employee. So for every employee, they're making $150 per hour. So you go, well, they must be paying the graders well, right? Because we want quality graders, high quality people. Because if they give my card an 8 instead of a 6, that could mean thousands of dollars for me. So they got to be paying these people well to attract the top people, right? Well, if we head back over to the Collector's Universe website, it says that the starting salary is $17 an hour for graders. This is for graders specifically. And you could work your way up to $20 to $32 per hour. So they're paying $17 per hour. And if you're lucky, you'll get up to $20 an hour or $32 an hour, even though you're providing
$150 worth of value at those conservative numbers. In reality, it's probably closer to $200 an hour in value because they're going through more than 6 cards. They're going through more like 9 or 10, right? But the conservative estimate said $150 an hour. Well, by the way, in California, the minimum wage, it's $15.50 an hour. And January 1st, it goes up to $16 an hour. So PSA is paying graders, the people determining, allegedly, how nice our cards are, and the value that they're going to be worth. They're paying them $17 an hour, and then you might move up to $20 to $32. And the minimum wage, the guy flipping burgers, is making $15.50.
So what are the takeaways? What do we take away from crunching all of these numbers? And there were numbers going everywhere. And then it's like, Greg, what are you talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. Well, first off, PSA and SGC fans are very polarizing. Some people hate both. Some people hate PSA. Some people hate SGC. So I understand that a lot of people have already closed out of this video and they've already posted their comment that they think that this is a bunch of malarkey, right? But this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there is no doubt about it that they are spending way less than a grand total of 9 minutes and 15 seconds or whatever on unboxing my card, identifying my card, authenticating my card, grading my card, encapsulating my card, double checking my grade, double checking the encapsulation, packing it up and sending it back. There's no doubt that they're spending way less than 9 minutes. They're probably spending a grand total per card closer to 5, 6, 7 minutes, somewhere in there. And they're pumping out 1.2 million cards per month. So they're moving really, really quickly. And we're hiring people making $17 an hour, which is literally, I just showed you, is literally right above minimum wage. The overwhelming majority of the grading that takes place in the LA facility. And the minimum wage in the LA facility is $15.50 and they're paying $17. So they say, well, we're trying to hire more graders. We're trying to speed things up, right? That's the problem is they don't have enough employees. Well, the reason you don't have enough employees is because you're only paying them $17 an hour. Why would you want to go work for $17 an hour when you could have a job with no stress and no clock ticking as you're working for right around the same amount? And they say, well, we can't pay them more. We'll pay them more. But if we pay them more, what's going to happen is we're going to have to charge you more. That's not true. That's not true. I just did the numbers. You're bringing in at least $150 per employee per hour. And you're paying them $17. So you're bringing in $150 per hour. You're spending on labor, the most expensive commodity, $17. So here's what you do. You charge the same amount. You still bring in at least $150 an hour. It's in reality, we all know it's probably $200 to $250 because they're going through more than 6 cards an hour. They're going through a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Then what happens is when you pay people more, which you should be paying people $25 to $30 an hour if you actually want to hire people, you pay them more. And then you get higher quality people. You get more people. So then your turnover rate is faster. Well, that would cut into the profit margin. It would cut into the profit margin. It would cut into the profit margin if you paid people more to get quality people. But you know what else would happen? The profit margin might come down a little bit, but you know it would go way up? Speed, quality control, customer service. So at the end of the day, what we've got to do is we've got to look at what's important. What's important to a company? What's important to the culture of a company? Is it customer service and quality control? Because we have a company that seems to be really good at that, and they're fast. Or is it high volume, high profit margin? Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. If you're the owner of the company, it's all about profit margin. But if you're a collector, it seems like it'd be more about quality control and customer service. So my final thought is this. If PSA says the reason that the turnaround time is taking a long time is because they can't hire enough people, they can't find enough people, that's because they're paying them a little over minimum wage. And if people say, well, what's the reason for the quality control being so, having issues? That's because they're moving through cards way too quickly. And my numbers are conservative. They're not even accurate. They're very conservative guesses. Nobody could come back and go, no. We spend way more time than that on identifying the card. No, you don't. That's my take. That's the issue. Those are the issues. How do we fix the issues?